Hello students, today we'll do a punctuation drill for the SAT and ACT. This is a quick drill of 4 questions where we will look at the semicolon, the colon, the comma and the dash. Question 1. Deep below the mountains of central Vietnam lies what could be described as another world. And here we have 4 options for this part, where as has been given with a colon, with a dash, without any punctuation, and with a comma. So let's first look at the options that we can eliminate. Option A can be eliminated because the colon should come at the end of a complete sentence. Right? That is the most important thing to remember about the colon. It should come at the end of a complete sentence. For example, I could use a colon if I had said, deep below the mountains of central Vietnam lies what could be described as a paradise, and then colon, the name of the place, right? So you should only use a colon if the part before the colon is a complete sentence. That makes A out. Okay, a single dash can be used as a colon in an informal sense, but since the colon itself would not work here, a single dash would also not work here, so B is out. Actually, we don't need a punctuation here, right? So the right answer is C. And why don't we need a punctuation? Why is it not D? Remember that a single comma indicates a break, right? For example, I could have a dependent clause here and a comma and an independent clause. For example, when I met him, comma, I gave him a book, right? This comma indicates a break between a dependent clause. When I met him, I gave him a book. Another example of a single comma break is when a modifier and an independent clause need to be separated. So let's look at that. So let's have a modifier and an independent clause. Recognizing the need for collaboration, the scientist formed a team of researchers. So who recognized the need for collaboration? The scientist, right? So this part, recognizing the need for collaboration, that part is the modifier. And the scientist formed a team of researchers, that's the independent clause. So to indicate the break between the two, I put a comma. I would not put a comma here because there is no break here. I'm saying that there lies what could be described as another world. That's just a continuous sentence. So here the answer is option C, no punctuation needed. Okay, let's go to question 2. I'm going to change to a darker color. Okay, so this actually doesn't look like a punctuation question, but it is. At roughly 5 miles long, 300 feet wide, and 600 feet tall, Son Doong is large enough to hold an entire city block of 40-story buildings. So Son Doong is a cave in Vietnam, and this sentence is describing the dimensions of the cave. Now, let's say I had to choose an option between B, C, and D. This marvel is roughly 5 miles long, and so on. The cave is roughly 5 miles long, and so on. or it is roughly 5 miles long. In each of these cases, if I had said this marvel is, or this cave is, or it is, in each of these cases, this part would be an independent clause, and this part would be another independent clause, right? Because I would say this marvel is 5 miles long, 300 feet wide, and 600 feet tall. That's one. Son Doong is large enough to hold an entire city block. That's another. If I have two independent clauses, I cannot join them with a single comma. Two independent clauses can have a semicolon or a full stop between them, right? But not a comma. And since a comma is given here, I need to make the part before the comma a modifier. It can't be an independent clause, which is why the right answer is option A, no change. Because if I say at roughly 5 miles long, 400 feet wide, and 600 feet tall, Son Doong is large enough to hold an entire city block of 40-story buildings, then that entire part before the comma is a modifier describing Son Doong. And so a comma after tall makes sense, right? Okay, let's go to question 3. Still talking about Son Doong. Portions of Son Doong contain what many envision when they think of caves, which dark chambers ornamented with gigantic calcite formations and populated by colorless creatures. Right, now the first thing I notice is that this doesn't read correct, right? The way the sentence is given doesn't read right. So there is something off about this. So obviously A cannot be the right answer. What the sentence is doing is that it is saying portions of Son Doong contain what many envision when they think of caves, right? So this part of the sentence is creating an expectation for the reader of what it is that many envision when they think of caves. And when you have the sentence creating an expectation, which is then answered by the next part of the sentence, the best punctuation is the colon. Because if I say portions of Son Doong contain what many envision when they think of caves, colon, dark chambers ornamented with gigantic calcite formations and populated by colorless creatures, right? We also notice that this part before the colon, portions of Son Doong contain what many envision when they think of caves. This is a complete sentence. And so we can use a colon after this because we need to put a colon after the complete sentence. Okay, what's the problem with option C? In option C, I'm putting a semicolon here. I'm putting a semicolon, and this goes. Now, that is a problem because a semicolon should come between two independent clauses, and this part is not an independent clause. This part is only describing what is inside the cave. It doesn't have a proper sentence. It doesn't have a subject and a predicate. And so option A is out, option C is out. What about option D? If I don't put any punctuation, then I would simply be saying portions of Son Doong contain what many envision when they think of caves. Dark chambers, that's just a run-on sentence. It doesn't make any sense because I need to indicate a break between what people envision when they think of caves and what that thing is. So the right answer, option B. B is the right answer. Okay. Next question. Other parts of the cave are dramatically different. Verdant ferns, palm trees, bamboo, and stinging nettles flourish here as well. Now, the first thing I notice is that I'm supposed to look at this part, and the part before the comma is an independent clause, and the part after the comma is another independent clause. And so I can't use a comma here. So that means no change is not an option, right? I'll discuss that if I want to use a comma, what additional thing do I need to add if I'm trying to join two independent sentences? But just a comma without anything else is not correct. Okay, what about option B? In option B, I'm adding a connector here, for instance. So I'm saying other parts of the cave are dramatically different. For instance, verdant ferns, palm trees, bamboo, and stinging nettles flourish here as well. That makes sense. The for instance part is fine. But again, this comma here plays spoilsport. The comma here cannot be used because the part before it is independent and the part after it is also independent. So for the same reason as option A, option B is also wrong. Option C. In option C, I'm replacing the comma with a semicolon. And that should work because we know that if we have two independent clauses, we can place a semicolon or a full stop between them. So option C would be my right answer. So I'll go with option C. What about D? In D, I'm using a conjunction and. So I'm saying other parts of the cave are dramatically different. And verdant ferns, palm trees, bamboo, and stinging nettles flourish here as well. The thing about this and is that it is trying to join an independent clause with another independent clause. And when I use a conjunction like this, it should have a comma before it. And so I come to the rule about joining two independent clauses with a comma. Two independent clauses can be joined with a comma and a coordinating conjunction. And you can remember the coordinating conjunctions that can be used with the acronym fanboys, where F stands for, A stands for and, N stands for not, B stands for but, O stands for are, Y for yet, and S for so. So here I remember to use the rule that I can join two independent clauses with a semicolon or with a comma plus a fanboys. Since in this option D, I am using a fanboys, but I'm not using a comma, option D is not correct. And so the right answer for this is option C. I just want to discuss this last concept a little bit more. Let's say I have a sentence, my hamster loves to play, comma, I gave it a hula hoop. My hamster loves to play, I gave it a hula hoop. Now here I have two independent sentences, so I can't put a simple comma between them. I will have to add a coordinating conjunction like so. My hamster loves to play, comma, so I gave it a hula hoop. Of course, I can also say my hamster loves to play, semicolon, I gave it a hula hoop. Yes, this is grammatically fine. But I think the first sentence, the one above, is better because it creates a very distinct, a very specific cause-effect relationship. My hamster loves to play, so I gave it a hula hoop. So remember that in punctuation, you have to first look for grammatical accuracy. Here's the above sentence and the one below, they are both grammatically accurate. But you should also try and look at what you are trying to say. And the sentence above says it better. Okay, so that was a quick punctuation drill. I just wanted to discuss the nitty-gritty of comma and semicolon usage because those are the places where students tend to make mistakes. Hope you found this video useful. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Share it with your friends and help spread the word. Let me know in the comment section what other videos and what other drills you'd like me to make, and I'll try and upload them. I'll see you guys in another video soon. Take care. Bye-bye.